like going to a restaurant or hanging at the zoo. Clothes and sports and funny news, crafts and travel too. Nothing ever scripted, so expect the unexpected.
Hello,
Buenos dias.
hello.
Aloha.
It's the Chatty, Patty, Paula, Talk Show. It's the Chatty, Patty, Paula, Talk Show. It's the Chatty, Patty, Paula, Talk Show.
Welcome to our show. I'm Patty.
I'm Paula. I thought you were doing like April Fool's joke. It's April 1st, so you forgot what you were going to say. April Fools.
Welcome to another edition of Detroit Songster Secrets.
Songster Secrets.
And our guest today is Laura Mandoza. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Awesome.
We were going to have you on a couple weeks ago,
Yes.
and it got put off. So we're very happy to have you here
Yes.
today.
I was very worried I would be extremely hoarse, which I ended up being hoarse that day. So I was like, oh, I'm glad we put this off.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
So why don't you tell us what you're performing, and go ahead and start when you're ready.
I'm performing today? What? April Fool.
JK.
So today, this song I'm going to play for you is called The Shutout.
Shut up.
Excellent.
I have been lost. I have been hurt. I have been shattered. And I've had no words. I have been shunned. And I've been bled. But if you do it too, then just leave me for dead. Don't shut me out. Don't break me down. 'Cause I still love you. I walk this life. I walk it with pride. I walk down the street, my head held high. I've seen it all, and I felt it too. But it all means nothing if I don't have you. Don't shut me out. Don't break me down. 'Cause I still love you. Strong. I'm not always right. Sometimes I'm pretty on a good night. Sometimes I'll cry. Sometimes I shout for joy. But if you leave me left out, then I am destroyed. Don't shut me out. Don't break me down. 'Cause I still love you. 'Cause I still love you.
Wow, what a powerhouse
That was
you are.
gorgeous.
Whose butt do we got to kick? Who's shutting you out?
Well,
It's not your husband, right?
No. I wrote this actually back in 2018. the year before that, in 2017, I had a band called White Shag, and we'd been playing for many years at the time, and we were doing pretty well. We'd go on the indie circuit and tour, and people loved us. But, we'd get back to Detroit, and Detroit a lot of times can't get out of its own way. And we were kind of like the dorks. We go back to our high school, and we're the dorks again, Like, nobody wanted to support us. They were jealous, and that was unfortunate. But they found a way, to pull us out. The Me Too movement had started, and I was, really happy about the Me Too movement because I had been victim of a lot of incidents where, men tried to take advantage of their position and use my, desire to become a successful artist someday to get what they wanted from me. Or they would, shut me out or whatever. They would do whatever. And that was something that really bothered me for the longest time. So oh yeah. Well, I was super grateful for the Me Too movement, but I ended up becoming a victim of the Me Too movement.
Wow. Well, a good song came out of it.
Yeah. So
that was very catchy. I like
You
it.
seem so strong. Like I just met you 10 minutes ago, and I'm so proud of you then because things seem to be going well for you.
Thank you. It's not always like that, I've dealt with a lot of anxiety over the last few years that I'm trying to hold down, and sometimes I'm not always strong, I know I am, but that's it.
But I feel like no matter what, as an artist, you're going to still do your song and you can fool everybody. Even if you're feeling not strong, you're going to sing that strong.
Yeah.
Because it's like a message. That's the
Well, then how does
fun
that
part.
song, how did that particular song make you feel?
Well, when that happened, I knew who was really against me, and they were very vocal about it and very loud. They're nowhere to be found now, but it was the people who were my friends and who supposedly supported me that turned their back on me, but not to my face. So that's why I said, don't shut me out. I'm just like you. Yeah. I've gone through all of this. Like, I still love you. Like, don't shut me out. And I did get shut out. And like a lot of those people don't know that I know. And that's fine. And I'll leave it that way. But, it was very strange because it would be very subtle things like, I know that whispering in groups like, oh, well, no, let's not ask them because, of what happened, and just kind of pushed me away. And it was hard for a really long time. It was very hard. And it wasn't about me. It was about someone in my band.
Oh, jeez, that's so unfair.
Well, I came out to defend them because I didn't think it was right what was happening. I didn't think that was the kind of person we needed to go after. There were more people, other people who were doing that within the community who should have been shut down. And I felt like what happened to us was out of jealousy. And most of the people who were spearheading the campaign against us were women in other bands.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my understanding that someone's response, you have to take responsibility for your own response because you might see a problem and you respond in a way that you're the problem. Not you, I mean them. They're responding in a way like they're making you the problem, but they're creating something that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
We should all be helping each other out because you
Yeah.
can't just be the scene by yourself. We need a lot of people to make a music scene.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be a bully, then you're going to be the one that's
So you're
outta
not
here.
always singing about that. Do you have like happier songs, in your
do.
genre that?
I do a prolific as well. The other song I brought is a little
Okay.
more prolific. That's actually also has a really great story. I mean, I wanted to bring songs that would be good stories.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in West Carrollton, Ohio.
Is
Until
that
I was-
south? Is that south?
It's south.
Because
It's
I
like
thought there's
it's a-
something in your
it's a-
voice.
it's a suburb of Dayton, Ohio. So
Oh.
I mean, my mother was Chilean, and my
Oh.
parents divorced when I was very little. So my dad wasn't always around, but he wasn't really a country fan or anything like that. But I mean, that influence is clearly in my voice. But it's because I heard all my friends' parents, playing country. Everybody listened to country music. Most of the people where I'm from, a lot of them are from Appalachia.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're about We're a suburb of Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Like southeast Dayton or southwest Dayton, Ohio. And there's a lot of people because all of them went to go work in the steel mills or they went to go work in the GM plant that's in Dayton. So that's where that
I thought I heard
comes
a little
from.
twang.
Yeah, there's a little twang. It's
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
just,
like it.
I don't mean to do that. It just comes out that way,
Uh-huh.
I guess.
In your vibrato, you have such a
Thank
great
you.
voice. Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. It's like really powerful. You know how to sing. Well, you said you do singing lessons too in the past, or you still do? Or
I did. I mean, I've been singing since a very young. I mean, I've been singing since I was 4. I was always performing, always doing something, and like, it's just what I always wanted to do was perform. I actually was in musical theater at first.
I bet
was-
you were. You'd be awesome in music.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Well, I give all my stage presence to my musical theater background.
What was your favorite performance in musical theater?
I did Anything Goes, and I was Reno Sweeney. And
I've seen that.
Oh yeah, it was great.
In fact, that was the first
these were,
show
like,
I
choral
had seen.
numbers with like a chorus behind me and everybody dancing.
Oh,
and like,
wow.
It was fabulous.
Because it's a comedy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a musical comedy.
Musical
yeah.
comedy,
It
yeah.
was great. It takes place in the 1920s. It's Cole Porter, and his lyrics are just so great already. So
And I can see that in the Firewalkers when you perform.
Yeah.
You've got to see the Firewalkers. You're just amazing, your stage presence. And,
yeah,
and I love your playing an instrument. And
thank you.
yay.
It's funny because like with the
Oh,
Firewalkers, I kind of get bored on stage. Like I'm actually grateful when I have an instrument in my hand because I was for so long I played in White Shag. I played bass and lead.
Yeah.
And sang lead. So I was like, I was constantly like moving around and dancing and all this stuff, So
Yeah, sometimes you just don't know what to do with your hands if you're just
Totally.
like, ugh.
and sometimes when I'm playing, I overexert myself. Like I overexerted myself actually this past Saturday when we played the Caju Cafe and I was like, oh my God, am I gonna be okay? Like thinking in the middle of it, like, did I overexert myself?
Oh, you got to save your energy for the whole night.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's great. So when did you start like playing guitar and stuff like that, like to accompany yourself?
Well, my sister Karina actually, she brought a guitar home one day, and she passed it to me and started to teach me chords and things like that. So I started then. I didn't hang on to it for too long, but when I went to college, which I went to college in Santiago, Chile, where my mother is from,
Oh, cool.
I got my degree there in music composition and arranging, and they required us to learn guitar and piano. So that was great for me because I could really start to learn how to play a lot better. And I learned piano there too as well. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was awesome. It was
When
a
you're
great
writing
education.
a song, what instrument do you use to accompany your
Well,
process?
It depends. Sometimes I use the piano, sometimes I use the guitar. I mean, it's whatever in my head because a lot of times, like, the song, like, will come into my head first, and then, like, I got to get it down. So I have so many songs that I have done that with, but I just haven't put them down that are in my head or they're on a recording or something, and my ADHD does, like, I just have not been able to get to it. So.
Yeah.
Hey, this is a weird question, but I've never asked a musician this, but can you whistle? Do you ever whistle in a song?
No, only when I've done, like, covers, like Patience by Guns N' Roses. That's the only time.
I used to be able to whistle. I can't anymore.
I never was able to
It's
whistle
not,
ever.
it's like all air.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't whistle?
I can't whistle.
I used to. Well, there's a lady named Mrs. Miller who does whistling solos, who's amazing, and
Yeah.
she eats ice to do these solos, and that's her secret.
Wow.
She's probably dead by now, but she's
wow.
an old lady. Sorry.
Rest in peace,
Sorry, Mrs. Miller. I have a bunch of her albums, but yeah, she's pretty awesome. But yeah, you must have notes all over your house if you were writing songs all the time. Do you like write them down or do you record them in a little thing?
They're on my phone.
Yeah.
I have like every time I switch phones, like I make sure to upload them to my, my Dropbox. So I have like a Dropbox like full of all these pieces of songs, So
Do you ever piece two of them together?
I've done that. I think I
Oh.
pieced like 3 songs together. And who inspired me to do that was actually Queen, because Bohemian Rhapsody is actually 3 or 4 different songs just stuck together. That actually, in college, I actually did a report on the vocal arrangements for that. And they actually did something called the bell effect, which means they do a chord. So he's just a poor boy. Like that is like the bell effect. So it sounds like bells ringing, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Like
It's almost a vocal chord.
Yeah, well, they're chords. Yeah,
with
the
the
voices
vocals,
are doing
yeah.
chords, and like it's a different chord for each syllable. So that's how you create that like bell effect. It's called the bell effect.
Oh, we're
Never
learning
heard of
things.
it.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
love it.
Yeah, and in fact, that
Well, because she went to college.
Well, I had to do a report on this, to be fair, so I had to do like a whole presentation and everything. But the vocal arrangements on there, they have over 100 vocals on that track. In fact, the tape was so thin. By the end of it, they were having trouble like keeping it together because it was just so thin from so many recordings that they had on it. And then, if you didn't know, it's actually the drummer who does that really high note at the end. It's not Freddie.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the one.
If they only had digital then, when they were recording it, because it was all analog, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
digital. Yeah.
It was all analog, and that's why the tape was so thin.
Now they could add 200 vocals.
That's crazy. Just that thought is stuck in my head. But it's time for you to play a second song.
All right.
Can you tell us a little something about it?
Yeah, this is called "Where Do I Go From Here." I wrote this for a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Sterling Silver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
Let's hear it.
coffee, talks, and drinks and bars, fancy clothes and singing stars, but where do I go from here? Pizza boxes and liquor stores, things that were but they ain't no more. And where do I go from here? And where do I go from here? And where do I go from here? Pictures, photos in a frame. I'm living now, but it ain't the same. So where do I go from here? The world I live in, it seems so tame. Nothing like my days of fame. So where do I go from here? And where do I go from here? And where do I go from here? And it can be so daunting, like peeling the ears of my life. And I'm fumbling through and hoping to see the light at the end of the unbearable. Can't say I've lived my life in vain. I've done a lot and I can't complain. So where do I go from here? Through all the pain, love, and sweat, I did nothing that I regret. So where do I go from here? And where do I go from here? And where do I go from here? And where do I go from here?
Well, that's going to be stuck in my head. Thank you.
I love that.
That's an earworm. That was awesome.
That was great.
Now, do you ever like perform solo acoustic?
Yeah, I do. My husband and I have done a few acoustic gigs. We'll do them at the Legions or VFWs, and they love it that he's a veteran and he plays acoustic too. And it's always good, like when you're playing acoustic, just to have a second guitar there and
Yeah.
someone to do backups. I think it really fills out the sound, like it perfectly.
Yeah.
And Dave, my guitarist from the Firewalkers, we have a duo too. We're going to be starting that up again. We do mostly covers and that. We'll pull some of my originals in, but it's whenever I get the opportunity, if someone wants me to play, I'll be like, okay, well, it makes sense for me to just play by myself, or I'll call Dave, or I'll just ask my husband. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's why we do this show.
Yeah. What was the name of that song?
where do I go from here?
Yeah. Okay, that's what I would have
She
guessed.
said it like 10 times.
Okay. Well, I was just.
I only said it once. Besides that, to be fair.
No,
really...
while you were singing it, you said it several
that's
times.
true. Yeah, I said it like multiple times. It was
Like,
the
wait,
refrain.
Am I hearing things?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. That song I wrote for Sterling. I called Sterling my rock and roll dad. Like him and my dad are very special to me. My dad is very special to me. My next endeavor is to write a song for him. I wanted to do it for today, but I couldn't get the fire under my butt, to do it.
Yeah, it's fun to write songs for people. And like, how do you, like, I know when I write songs, you keep notes and sometimes it's just words. Is that how you formulate? Or do you just like, I got this chorus in my head, I'm going to go write it all down?
It all depends. Sometimes it's a melody, just
Yeah.
the melody. Sometimes the hook will come into my head. Sometimes, it's just either one of those. Sometimes I'll be improvising. There's a number of ways that, the song can come out. This particularly came out, Sterling was moving out of his house in Indian Village, and he'd been living there for a long, long, long time, and I was helping him. This was right after all that stuff had happened, So I was trying to lay low, and, I was helping him doing that. And he texted me one night, and he said, which is exactly the bridge of the song. It says, now I'm forgetting the words to my own song.
Da 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 da.
And it can be so daunting, like peeling the years of my life, and I'm fumbling through and hoping to see the light at the end of the unbearable. So he was like, as he was moving, he was pulling all these layers of the years that he had done all these things for the Detroit music scene. And it was crazy for me to see somebody, at that stage of their life. It's like, I've done all this. Like, where do I go from here?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are saying that today. Like, after coming out of COVID and everything's different. And look at me, I just got a job.
I know, we're all like coming out finally. I mean, it's 2025. It's been a few years. But
What's different for you now than it was before COVID?
Well, I think, receiving that extra $600 in unemployment a week actually made me want to actually get a real job. But I mean, it was really the struggle of being a musician. It was just like, I was playing 2 to 4 or 5 times a week, and just that hustle of constantly trying to get the next gig and making sure my schedule was full so I could make money. And then I'd have a side job, of course. And, there were opportunities during the pandemic with certain parts of, the job industry.
yeah.
And I took advantage of that. And I needed to do that because music was not my friend anymore. It was becoming a burden. And we had a terrible relationship, music and I. I was mad at music. I was angry, but I kept doing it, And then now I have a much better relationship with music. Now we're friends again, and I'm learning to enjoy it and, like, not be like, oh, I gotta go to the gig today. Like, it's like, oh, I get to go to the gig today.
A new perspective.
Huh?
A new perspective.
Exactly. A new perspective. Well, I did have that perspective at one point, but when you make your passions like your job and there's so much turmoil and so much struggle that goes with it, it starts to become a burden. And, if I can give any advice to anybody, don't make music your job, make, something else that can help you maybe complement that and keep doing music, because you never know. Like, maybe you'll end up being able to be successful with music to a point where you only have to do that and you can do it on your own terms. But I didn't get to that point, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. I've done a lot. I can't complain. Those are actually words from my song.
I can't complain.
She's remembering the words now. Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't complain, and I'm happy with the way things are, and I'm happy, where I'm going in life right now, and I'm happy with my relationship with music now. We have a great relationship, and it's developing more.
Do you have a website?
Not at the moment.
Well, how can people look you up online?
Well, my Instagram, you can go to Smokin' Mandoza with no G, or you can go to my Facebook, Laura Mandoza. I think it's just Laura Mandoza. And so I'll post anytime I'm playing. You know, you can check out the Firewalkers also as well. So
People can just Google you and yeah.
yeah, you can Google me. And
right,
there's
Google it.
there's a lot of YouTube videos. I'm sure there's tons of stuff at YouTube, girl.
Or do you have any shows coming up that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, actually, on June 1st, the Firewalkers are going to be playing at the Caju Cafe. It's during the day. It's a benefit, actually, for suicide prevention charity.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to that. It was funny because the girl who's organizing it actually texted me on Saturday, and she's like, "Hey, Laura, you know, I haven't seen your band yet, but do you guys think you'll be playing anytime soon? Maybe we can come." And I go, "Well, you know what? I'm playing tonight." And she's like, "Oh my God, we have a sitter. We're going to dinner. We'll come by afterwards."
Yeah.
And it was great. She came up, and she was really they stayed for a set, and they're really excited about it. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're in. She saw one set and she's like, yes, we want you.
I know it's hard to make a living at music, but I always tell people that say, "Oh, how do you make a living doing music?" It's like, imagine your life without it. It's everywhere. I mean, it's not just concerts, it's on commercials. It's imagine your life silent.
Is your style evolving, do you think? Or
Yeah.
do you have a favorite you go back to?
Well, I mean, like White Shag is like hard rock, you know, it was like stoner punk is what White Shag was. So it was real hard, you know, and a lot of people didn't know that I could actually sing before that when I was in that band. And then like I got invited to sing the national anthem, and like even Joe, my drummer, was like, "I didn't know you could sing like that." Like,
oh my gosh.
some of the like after like, and I think that was like a year into us playing together, he didn't realize that. So that was funny, but yeah, it's definitely evolved. Like this is something that I've done before. Like when I was growing up and doing musical theater, a lot of the style of the Firewalkers, you know, I did. I mean, it's 1950s R&B, so it's the roots of rock and roll. So it's technically not that different from what I was doing. I was playing rock and roll with White Shag. I'm playing rock and roll with the Firewalkers too. And I mean, these vocals are like, I mean, these women, man, like they don't get enough recognition, you know, like Elvis made the songs famous and Jerry Lee Lewis, but the women behind these songs are just, I mean, they're monsters. They are monsters of rock.
Still very male-dominated world, but we got to keep on keeping on out there.
Yeah, Laura, we really appreciate you being with us here today. I want to check out the Firewalkers for sure.
Oh, they're amazing.
I
I haven't
mean-
seen them enough, and I couldn't come Saturday. I had some.
Well, thanks again for coming, and thanks for watching another episode of the